we're going to take some of your questions. Thanks very much. We are not going to get through all of these, I am afraid. This is really embarrassing having to sort of flick through people. Yeah.
Quick fire answers.
We do, yes, please.
Was it salt and vinegar and cheese and pepper?
What will your new party's stance be on LGBTQI rights and specifically on trans rights?
We obviously at the moment don't have policies beyond the five framework areas I said. My view on trans rights is trans rights are human rights and we should treat trans people.
Whoever wrote this, thanks ever so much, because I forgot to ask it myself. It was in my notes. If the Brexit vote were held again today, would you campaign on either side, or would you remain neutral again?
What I would want to do is, first of all, it's not going to be held again, but what I would want to do is actually develop what I tried to do, which was to get a customs union trading agreement with the European Union for this country, which would mean that we could carry on with normal trade and access within Europe. And I do support the development of free movement of people between Europe and this country. I was faced with essentially a very impossible position in that the majority of Labour Party members, probably 80%, were Remain. 2/3 of Labour voters of Labour constituencies were against. And basically we could not win an election without the support of both Remain and Leave voters. What I tried to do was say, actually, your social and economic injustice problems are exactly the same whether you're in a Remain or a Leave area. It is a question of how you run our society. And I hoped that we could at least develop that trading relationship with Europe, which I started to negotiate. We all know what the result of the election was. I don't think this country will rejoin the EU, and I think the EU is moving, actually, in my view, in a very bad direction over its militarism and its development of its own armed forces, which is what Ursula von der Leyen wants to do. I want us to see us having an effective social and economic relationship with the European Union, rather than the sort of trade policies that both governments have tried to develop with the USA and other places that ignore both human rights and environmental concerns in development of those policies.
You don't need to be too rapid fire because we've still got a bit of time, and that was really helpful, thank you. How will you safeguard the Jewish community, many of whom are feeling unsafe in the UK, if your new party was, in charge of the country?
We fully support the community, fully support the existence and safety of synagogues and Jewish schools, and the right of free worship, and the right to practice your faith and your religion. Anti-Semitism is unacceptable in any form whatsoever in our society, and I have always and always will protect the right of people to follow their own faith and their own religion. And so I would make sure they are absolutely fully supported and protected in exactly the same way I would make sure mosques and churches and temples and other things are also equally protected, and work on the assumption that if somebody attacks a synagogue, they're also attacking a mosque and a church. Let's put it that way and say we're all going to defend our places of worship.
Here's a wonderful and heartfelt question. Do you think more should and could be done for people with learning disabilities?
Yes, I think the support that's needed for people with learning difficulties and those with special education needs in schools, which are sometimes learning difficulties, sometimes other things, are very important. The cutback in education spending on teaching assistants, on Senkos in schools and so much else means that the achievements of all